Hi, this is Kathi Quinn with Floriani. Floriani's division of R&K Distributing, and I want to welcome you to this week's Project of the Week. Well, I was putting buttonholes in a shirt, and let me tell you, even with all the magic of the machines that we've got buttonhole feet, we can tell it what size buttonhole and everything, there is still room for me to make error. I was so frustrated with my skill. So I decided, well, shoot, why don't I just put it in the hoop? I'm all about the hoop anyway. If I can possibly get something in a hoop and let my embroidery machine make it perfect, that's what I want to do. So I came to my software and I came to my buttonhole. Now I'm going to left mouse click on my buttonhole tool up here at the far right hand top. And I'm just going to hold down my left mouse key and I'm going to draw my buttonhole. Now these, I've got my grid at a 1/2 inch system. So I'm going to go ahead and make a buttonhole. Now of course, I could select this buttonhole and in transform, I could tell it exactly what the height was according to my button. But we're going to stay here at about 1 1/4 inches. Now with this buttonhole, I also have the opportunity, let's come back over, let's get out of transform, we've applied that. Let's go back over. What am I doing wrong here? Come on, properties. Let me select it again. There we go. There's my buttonhole. Let's try that again. Let me see what I did. Let's go to transform. Oh, I needed to touch the tab that says buttonhole. There we go. So now we're back at buttonhole. Now I want you to notice this is a standard buttonhole. There's our density and our stitch length, which of course we could change. Now we don't only have the standard, we have a standard narrow. We've got a pretty heirloom buttonhole if you're working with batiste or linens and you want a pretty heirloom buttonhole. We've got our round end, our keyhole point, our keyhole round, our keyhole square. We also have our stretch buttonhole for our knits, and we have a round buttonhole. So you have a nice selection to choose from. I'm going to stay with standard right now. We're going to stay where we are. Now, if I'm doing a shirt and say I need 6 buttons down the front, I'm going to come, I've got my single buttonhole. I'm going to come to my repeat tool. So let's come to repeat design. Let's tell it, excuse me, I want 1 buttonhole across and I need 6 down. And I would have measured how much space I needed in between, but I'm going to say that I need about 1/2 inch. So I'm going to type in 1/2 inch. I'm going to apply that, and I'm going to say OK. So there's my buttonholes down the front of my blouse. Now let's say I think, well, you know, those are they're standard. These are kind of big. Maybe I'm going to put on a coat now. So I'm going to use a larger button, and I'm not going to want a regular standard buttonhole. I'm going to come in, and I'm probably going to want to put a keyhole round on that. So I'm going to select that and apply. Now the nice thing about this is it's going to change all 6 of them at once. So now I have my keyhole round buttonhole. So you can change according to the type of button you need if you didn't pick it in the first place. You don't have to go back and change these individually. So there we have, we're going to hoop it. Now, of course, how many buttonholes can you put down from top to bottom? Well, remember, everything is contingent upon your hoop. So if you have a 12-inch frame, you're going to be able to do 12 inches worth of buttonhole with their spacing. If you've got a 5x7, your 7 is going to be your length, and you're going to need to rehoop in between. Very easy, because as you mark your fabric, and as accurate as our machines are today, you could actually even print, if you had a smaller hoop, a 5x7, I could print on my template tearaway the buttonholes that would fit. I would simply hoop it, use my template tearaway for perfect placement. How would I do that? I would go to File, and I would go to Print Preview. Now, of course, I've got a lot of buttons on here, but if I had the 5x7, it's the same idea. We would go to our settings, Of course, I want to show my crosshair. I want actual size. I want stitch mode. I might want to have a thicker crosshair on it. Now I'm going to say OK. And if I've got a machine that reads the snowman sticker, I could put my Floriani cat on here. But I'm going to say OK. Now I would print this template out on Template Tearaway. Then I would place it on my shirt. I would be able to zero in on the center. Then if I needed to add buttonholes because I had a smaller hoop, I would just use that same piece of Template Tearaway going down my shirt. So that would be very simple to continue no matter how many buttonholes you needed. So whether you're doing them large across the top of a curtain to put a rod through, or you're putting some fine heirloom buttonholes on the back of a christening gown, why not do it in the hoop? Something else that's a lot of fun, I had done a large week, days of the week, just a Monday through Sunday for some of my grandkids. And what I did is so they could play with buttons, it was for the younger ones. What I did is I created so they could decide what kind of day it was outside. So I went and I picked the sun. I have a real cute sun here. I brought the sun in. I merely turned it into stitches. So that, remember, when I bring it in from my custom shapes, all this is a piece of artwork. It's perfect artwork, but it's still artwork. So I could turn it into an applique. I could turn it into whatever stitch I want. But I'm just going to make it a simple fill. Now with that as a fill stitch, I'm going to come get my buttonhole tool. I'm going to create a buttonhole. And I did large buttonholes for large buttons because they're little fingers. So they would be successful. I'm going to go ahead and grab this buttonhole and I'm going to bring it here. And I'm just going to set it right here in the middle of the sun. Now I'm going to select all items. I'm going to right mouse click and I'm going to combine with the buttonhole. So what that has done is it has made my buttonhole part of my design. Now I could have made that buttonhole a different color. It didn't have to be the same color as the sun, but that way it made it easy for them to button the sun on a sunshine day. Come up, we've got other shapes in here. I got a cloud out of here. I did the moon out of here. So it was a lot of fun to play with in here and create these. Then it made it very easy for them to button on and off of the calendar. I stitched it out on Floriani's no-show mesh. And then I used my heat cut tool to burn away the edges. Very simple. You could do this. You could also grab this, grab your sun. I could go ahead and create an outline around it. I'm going to do one outline at 0%. Now I've got just a simple artwork outline around there. I could come down and I could say, you know what? I want to do a nice little steel stitch around there. Whoops. Undo is my friend. I needed to grab just the artwork and do a little steel stitch around there so that it had a nice pretty edge when I cut that away. And so you can see that better, I'll go ahead and just make it a different color. So what I've done is I have taken a piece of artwork, I turned it into a fill, created a buttonhole on it, selected the buttonhole and the fill, right mouse click, and I have combined the buttonhole. So it has made it part of my design. Then I went ahead and put a pretty steel stitch around the edge. So when I burn this out, it's a nice looking little patch for little hands to put on and off of their calendar. So I hope you enjoyed today's lesson about the buttonholes. Sometimes we have a tool that we forget completely about, and I had forgotten this tool while I was fighting to put those buttonholes in. Easy as pie to come in and hoop that same item and put those buttonholes on. Absolutely perfect with my fantastic Floriani Total Control U. I look forward to seeing you again next week. I hope you have a wonderful week. Hope you had a great holiday season. See you soon.